For today's video, I want to talk about the Raid Pulse Rifle from Valor Disciple, Collective Obligation. Yes, I got it early for once. I know it's a Christmas miracle. It only took, let's see, kind of carried the one. Oh yeah, 61 less tries than Eyes of Tomorrow. Oh, only 61. So anyway, I know this Pulse isn't getting the greatest approval rating, Dado. But I actually think this Pulse is still really good. And I think it's really good on more than just Warlock, but I will talk about Warlock because, I mean, yeah, it's pretty good on Warlock. Anyway, let's go over what the gun does first. So, this weapon leeches void debuffs when damaging targets that are suppressed, weakened, or volatile. Once charged, press to swap firing modes, which is, reload. In this mode, damage from this weapon applies the same void debuffs that were leeched. So, essentially, let's say you threw a weakened grenade on a boss, and then you shot the pulse rifle at it. You would then charge a weakened debuff into the pulse rifle, and thus carry a weakened debuff in your pulse basically the entire time until you felt like activating. Now, the good thing about the gun is, once you do get any debuff at all, you can actually store it for as long as you want. The perk does not go away if you switch to a heavy or a different weapon, and you can stow it for as long as you want until you die, I suppose. Same thing works with when you actually activate the perk with the counter. So let's say you activated your weakened debuff and you have 10 seconds left on the Void Leech being distributed. You can actually switch back to a different gun and keep your counter active, and then once you eventually switch back to your pulse, you can still shoot some more shots again and get the leech off before it eventually evaporates. So, why is this thing so good? Well, essentially, due to how the gun works, if you have multiple people using it, you can actually just stack and trade debuffs with each other and continuously just rotate through who uses the gun and who uses debuffs, and then reacquire said debuffs again into your pulse over and over and over for as long as you need it. So the more people that have it, the better it gets, and this weapon basically helps you with higher and higher and difficult endgame content. So in Patrol, you might not get much use out of it because you're just going to be killing everything in one burst with any primary anyway, but the higher and higher in content you go, the better it gets. So, Wellspring, Raids, Dungeons, GMs. I'm actually looking forward to using this in a GM to see how it, operates against unstops and stuff like that. But the general idea is pretty sound. Obviously, it's not, the most busted exotic in the world. I'm not going to say it's the best damage perk exotic that we have in the game or anything like that. There's other weapons that do jobs better, or certain jobs anyway. Also, hypothetically speaking, you don't need to run a Void subclass for this. So let's say, for example, you want to run Well of Radiance. You can run Well, and then use this Pulse just as an unstoppable Pulse, and then someone else on your team can run Void, throw a Weakened Grenade on Champion, Boss, whatever it may be, and then you can just suck the Weakened debuff out of that, and put it into your Pulse, and then keep it in your pocket for later use, and there you have it. You have two players that can use Weakened without having two Void subclasses. So I think it's going to come in handy for certain situations. Now, let's talk about what I would use with this Pulse to make it better. So the immediate thing that comes to mind on Warlock is Controverse Holds, because Controverse Holds are just nuts. In case you don't know, use Controverse Holds in combination with a Voidwalker using Chaos Accelerant, Feed the Void, and then Cataclysm, and essentially you just throw charge nades everywhere, in every direction, with Vortex Grenades, thus weakening enemies, thus getting a ton of your energy back, if not your entire grenade, and then repeating the process, and then just having your pulse charged basically all the time, besides the small cooldown window that you get. You could abuse this, or the other exotic that I think is really good with it, Verity's Brow. So essentially, by combining it with Verity's Brow, what's going to happen is, you're just going to start chucking out nades left and right, and then every time you get damage and kills with the pulse rifle, it's just going to automatically reload, which will then cause you to get energy back over and over. And you can just keep rolling this in certain activities. Let's say Wellspring. I'm sure I'll play some Wellspring footage on screen. You use this on just like waves of thralls and acolytes and stuff, and you can just keep firing over and over and over and just constantly reload non-stop. And then when you eventually do run out, you have another grenade to throw and just repeat the process over and over again. Like I mentioned, you can stow the perk and keep it in your pocket until you need it, so it's not like you just need to drop it and then you have to wait like 2 minutes to fire the gun again. You can just have it ready to go whenever you want. So I'll be honest, I really don't think the Pulse is worth using on Titans. Sorry, Titans, I just don't think Titans Void 3.0 stacks anywhere near as good as Warlocks and Hunters. That's just my personal take. I think Titans are probably better off just being Thunder Crash missiles, pretty much, for at least the rest of this season. Anyway, that's a whole different story. Moving on, Hunters, you have a similar story. You have Orpheus Rigs, you have Tether that does a ton of damage now because of Orpheus Rigs giving you an extra shot. So you already want to be playing Void 3.0. On top of that, you have already great synergy between your grenades and your smokes, and then both your grenades and your smokes weaken enemies, and you have the ability to go invis, which has already been clutch in the game for years. So on top of all of that, you can easily combine the pulse rifle into your arsenal and just go ham on everything. Again, I think it'll shine really well in GMs. Maybe not quite as well as Voidwalker, just because Voidwalker exotics, like Contraverse and Verity's Brow, have even more synergy with the pulse than something like a Hunter, where you're pretty much almost stuck playing Orpheus Rigs. You're not guaranteed to play them, but there's no exotic quite like a Contraverse or a Verity's Brow for Hunters, currently anyway. So I think those are the two classes that can really use this gun very, very well. And if I haven't already, I'll be playing footage on screen showing some of the gameplay off with the pulse, and hopefully that wins you over. So if you did get the pulse in these first, 4 weeks of raids, then try it out. It's not as bad as a lot of people are making it out to be, and try it out on endgame content specifically. That's all I got for this one. I don't want to waste people's time too much. Enjoy the pulse, enjoy the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that nonsense. Yes, I know Windows is in the background. Windows won't ever shut the hell up. But hey, one take Andy. I'm not going to cut that. It'll be funny. Enjoy. Goodbye.